the meteorologist I see most often, Phil Duncan from weatherwatch.co.nz. Phil, kia ora, welcome back to the program.
Hello, I'm nervous now about this. I'm wondering if I'm about to be told off.
No, it's certainly not at all. No complaints from me, apart from Dunedin last weekend, and everybody that I speak to, although I suspect you've been looking at maps since I last chatted to you, that's what you do.
Yeah.
So you'll probably have an insight in this. I have not been as warm as I was in Dunedin last weekend since Waitangi weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. Exactly. It was a scorcher. All of Dunedin went to St Kilda Beach. You could not find a park. Just a total evacuation, and it got to that space where you go, you know what? It's a little bit hot, actually. Although the great thing with Dunedin, if it gets too hot, you just step into the shadow, and you're not hot
Yes.
anymore. Unlike the oppressive humidity further north. Is it just me, or is it just getting uncomfortably hot now, Phil?
This is our mountains and ranges and how they boost up our temperatures.
Yeah,
Like if England had a big mountain range down the middle of it,
yeah.
you wouldn't hear all these stories about England always being foggy and drizzly and gloomy. And like the reason they're like that is because it's a fairly flat, rolling country.
Yeah.
Even their mountains in Scotland aren't exactly huge compared to the hills we have here, and it breaks the weather up, and it makes, for example, on the South Island, the West Coast, very wet, very
Mm-hmm.
cloudy. You're getting complaints from there lately. You know that it's really raining a lot when they start complaining in Greymouth about the rain. And the flip side of that is Dunedin, Christchurch, Hastings, Napier, Gisborne, all those places, even Whangarei, everyone in the east dries out and warms up. And so this is the time of the year where it can very quickly go from cold to hot.
I was breaking out the sunscreen. Can I just say, last weekend in Dunedin, it was, oh gosh, we need to reapply that sunscreen. And hey, we are not even at summer yet. Does this bode well for a hot summer, or at least a warmer than average Labour weekend, Phil? Where are we heading?
I've seen in New Zealand, I've seen Canterbury hit 30 degrees in September
Wow.
with a windy, hot nor'wester.
Hmm.
So, like, we can get this at any time in spring. The question you ask about whether it goes into summer depends on whether those westerlies carry on into summer. So, like, a hot period of weather right now doesn't necessarily translate to anything in a month's time or even a week's time.
Yeah.
It all depends on the size of the high, where it was, or the low, and where the airflow was coming from. But we are getting some hot days now. We've seen parts of Hawke's Bay get close to 30 degrees in the last week.
Hmm.
So, it may well happen again over the next few days and into next week too. So we're not seeing any end in sight of these Australian nor'westers, subtropical winds, but at the same time, the polar boundary is still coming in and over the South Island. So the South Island's still very spring-like. They're going to be having warm days, cold days, and if you live in Southland, perhaps more on the cooler side than the warmer side
Yep.
still. But if you're at the top of New Zealand or the eastern side of the North Island, you're going to be experiencing a lot more dry, hotter days coming up. So it's kind of normal weather for this time of the year. To some degree, whether or not the westerlies keep going into December, therefore summer, that's a question mark, a question we can't answer yet. But if we do, then yes, I think we're likely to have a hotter start to summer in those eastern parts of New Zealand, so long as we have those westerlies around. If La Nina forms,
Hmm.
that will encourage perhaps more easterlies, and that's a different setup, and that makes western areas hotter and drier, and eastern areas more like England. So we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, we're going to have some kind of idea about summer in the next 2 weeks as we start to get November's weather pattern around our heads, and therefore that gives us the building blocks to work out December.
I must confess, I quoted you. Well, I'm not sure I quoted you. I just claimed it as myself. I says, oh, yeah. Well, when you've got strong westerlies, you see, the further east you get from that, this is why the weather's so warm. And I appeared very wise in front of my friends and family, but then I gave you credit later on. Of course,
Oh, you don't have to. You just own it. That's fine with me.
weatherwatch.co.nz. Now, we're not quite at Labour weekend yet, but let's do this weekend first. What's it looking for the next couple of days? Phil?
So we've got a cold front coming into the lower South Island tomorrow morning, but probably early in the morning. If you're in Southland, Fiordland, parts of Otago, that cold front comes in. Not a big rain producer for most places other than the west coast, where it will be very heavy, but some spill over into the east. Further northwards, though, the northwest winds will start to pick up, and they'll pick up a bit further on Sunday as that cold front continues to move northwards. So it's a bit unsettled this weekend, but there'll be a lot of dry areas and warm areas, especially the further north you are up the country, because that cold front obviously is slowly moving up the South Island. As we go into next week, we've got more high pressure brushing northern New Zealand, and that will drag down more subtropical wind. So next week's got the chance of being hot and dry. But as we go to the end of next week, next Friday, a week from now, there might be a wintry southerly that comes right up into the North Island, but that is ahead of a large high. So in my weather video today, I've just finished recording it. In the weather video today, we've got an extended 10-day forecast as we go right through Labour weekend. And it was sort of hard to even believe I was showing this map, because at this early stage, and this is not locked in, but the current modelling shows a big high pressure zone moving into New Zealand for the long weekend, which seems almost unheard of.
Wow.
Considering the weather we've been getting. So I'm nervous to lock it in, but I want to give people a bit of a silver lining. So at least going into this weekend, you might be feeling optimistic about next weekend.
Well, hey, some hope on the horizon, Phil. This is what we need. And of course, don't lock it in. Don't put money down on this, but keep informed. Weatherwatch.co.nz. I thoroughly recommend downloading the app for this as well. And a virtual meteorologist in your pocket, not an actual one.
Yes.
But Phil, thank you for what you do. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.